Meet George Barna. You might know him better as the creator of the Barna Research Group, which is the leading research organization focused on the intersection of faith and culture. George is a great guy, a well-respected voice across all denominations, and by all indication, he's not a nutcase. But George emailed me one day because, well, something had happened to his wife.
George got the DVD for Finger of God, and we watched it. I watched it a number of times because I watched it with friends. I watched it with my kids. I wanted them to see it, and it was a great discussion tool. We're on our horses riding up in the hills. She almost fell off her horse laughing. She said it was the stupidest thing she had ever heard. Hokey. This is the only time I remember her almost falling off her horse. She was laughing so hard. She said, "This sounds like the hokiest thing I've ever heard." And I said, "I know it does. It does. Watch the DVD because I still think it's hokey, but just watch the DVD." So we watched the DVD together, and we were still talking about how stupid and hokey it was because there's no way God works this way. So we had this discussion many times, and about the fifth time I saw it, I went to go to bed and brush my teeth, and all of a sudden I opened my mouth, and there's this tooth. And I came running down, and I said, "George, you're not going to believe it. I have a gold tooth." And my skeptical, cynical husband right away said, "How cool." I mean, there wasn't even he didn't even blink to think maybe that's not true, maybe it didn't happen. I mean, right away he knew. He just said, "How true, how true. I mean, how cool, this is great." And so it was about 10:30 at night, and I call her up, and I never call her that late, and she thought, "Oh, something must have happened." And she answers the phone.
I was prepared for the worst.
And then I said, "You're not gonna believe this, Darlene. I got a gold tooth." I said, and I'm going to pray God gives you one because I don't want to be the only one with one. and I'm going to pray he takes away your headaches too because she had migraines. So the next morning, I call her about 8:15 because we were going to go riding. And she answers the phone and she's a babbler. She goes, blah, 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 blah. I said, "Spit it out." She goes, "I got a gold tooth." I just still marvel that he chose us to give us gold teeth because we are so not gold teeth people. We are just
so not about us.
It is. I know. And I can understand in a church where that's what's happening and that's what they're praying for, but it's kind of a random act of God showing up, which I think makes it really fascinating. I mean, I still am fascinated by why God chooses to show up in what ways and what times, but that's not up to me.
There comes a point where it's like, well, okay, I can't deny it anymore. So
right.
Now the question is, who's the source?
Who's the source? And I never even thought of anyone but God as being the source. I believe there's a lot of satanic stuff going on around our house and in our lives and stuff, but I know He's not the source of this. This is nothing. I mean, this has been nothing but a positive God thing.
All right. Could you tell me the story about what happened when you showed this to your church?
Oh, yeah.
To the home church? George?
We had
but I want to hear from you.
It was a pretty interesting experience because everybody had seen the DVD, and everybody was parents were very concerned. I had some parents coming to me saying, "I don't want my kids to lose their faith because of this. I don't want my kids to be skeptical." And Darlene and I had this pact that no one's to know. That was our opening night, if you know what I mean. So we had kept it quiet other than our immediate kids, and my kids knew not to say a word. And so the group got together. A couple of people didn't even show up because they just were so not into what we were going to talk about. And I had some people saying, please, whatever we talk about, I don't want my kids to just not believe God does miracles. I don't want people to talk them out of it just because of this hokey stuff. I said, just don't worry about it. We know what we're going to talk about. We'll be fine. So I brought Darlene that night. She's doesn't usually come. And I told my story, and the funniest thing was a couple people thought we had put something over our tooth to just do this as a drama or something. And when they realized that we were serious, they just completely. And the neat thing was the kids' reaction. The kids were like, "I've always wanted to see a miracle, and now I've seen one." And we went to a party a couple months later, And we're just at the party, and all of a sudden, maybe there were 20, 25 kids come running up to us over the hill. It was very funny. They go, and I kept thinking, what do they want? And they go, we want to see. And I said, what? They go, your gold teeth. And so it was so, I mean, their reaction was so childlike, which is very...
Hook, line, and sinker, you know?
They were just so excited, and they didn't sit there and question and be skeptical. And everyone asks us, what does it mean? And we tell them we don't know. But that's kind of been... it's been great. It's been really faith building in terms of the people. For the people who grasp it, it's faith building. The people who believe us, who know us, and who say, "Wow, that's true," is they say it's so neat to see a miracle, because sometimes if without ever seeing them, you don't know where God is.
So what was the general kind of reaction from the parents then when you revealed this?
At first, they were skeptical. Would you say they didn't?
We had two that were really, really skeptical. They're kind of like me, because I really dig hand canograph. I'm really into that. I think he serves a purpose, and then there's a family I don't think they believe this to this day.
Yeah.
Then they don't think they're in your group anymore. But the rest of them were really supportive. And I think they just needed some time to step back and just think about it and pray about it and all that. And I'd say that they're all accepting of it now.
One of the greatest stories was one of the people in our group went to, their son is at a church, and someone had gotten a gold tooth, and he sent them a picture of the gold tooth like the week before, and he had said to his son, "Don't believe any of this. It's just a bunch of hokey lies. Just don't believe any of it." And now when he sees me, he still laughs, and he goes, "Wow, has this changed my view of what God can do?" I guess, the idea that it happens to someone like us who are not seeking it and who are not in churches where this happens, or not even in a world where we've ever seen it before. Quite frankly, I didn't know it existed before your video, and I haven't seen it since.